Hey, we have time to wait a second if you're not done with that conversation.
No, it's all right. I know what I'm doing. I do this all the time, and plus, there's no one around.
This is a common misconception. 21% of teenagers involved in fatal car crashes were looking down at their phones when the crash occurred. I really don't feel safe with you driving with your phone out. Maybe I could hold on to it for you for a little bit? Simple practices like giving your phone to somebody else while you're driving, putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, or pulling over if you need to make a phone call are simple practices that can be used to make driving even safer.
Not trust my driving? I've done this before and it's never been an issue, especially with you in the car.
Well, you never know when an accident could happen. I'd rather be safe than sorry.
What if something important pops up?
I mean, at least you could put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Whatever message you're trying to send probably isn't as important as saving a life. I think we should have a conversation about this. Having open conversations about the dangers of distracted driving with friends and family members is an important way to make sure that everyone is being safer on the roads.
What's up, FHS? I'm Bella.
And I'm Jimmy. Hope you're enjoying the warm weather, Sabers.
This week, we'll be hearing from Miss Dennis on some pretty cool books, a current club at FHS called Free, Julia will award our newest Hidden Saber winner, and Miles is back with another COVID ref announcement about the vaccines.
May is Asian Pacific Heritage Month. It is a time to celebrate these vibrant cultures that have been part of the American story for hundreds of years. These are some of the many cultures that are considered Asian or Pacific Islander.
We tend to lump people in groups by the way they look or by race, but the science of the Human Genome Project showed that there are no races, but only a single human race according to biology.
So by lumping people in large groups, we often overlook their unique cultures, history, and experiences. The Saber Roar would like to recognize a few people who identify as Asian and Pacific Islander Americans that have significantly impacted our shared history.
Dr. Chin Sheng Wu, Chinese American known as the Queen of Nuclear Research. She made significant contributions to the study of nuclear physics. Dr. David Ho, Taiwanese American virologist, has been on the front lines of AIDS research and most recently, coronavirus research. Duke Kahanamoku, native Hawaiian Olympic gold medalist who helped popularize the Hawaiian sport of surfing. Hong S. Nor, Cambodian American surgeon who survived the horrors of Cambodian prison camps and lived to write about it. I.M. Pei, a Chinese American architect, designed some of the nation's most iconic buildings, including the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Jerry Yang, Taiwanese American co-founder of Yahoo. Joyce Chen, Chinese American chef in 1958, pioneered the all-you-can-eat authentic Chinese buffet. Timmy Duckworth, the American Army veteran and U.S. Senator from Illinois. Yuji Ichioka, Japanese-American historian and civil rights activist. Sanjay Gupta, CNN senior medical correspondent. Taika Waititi, Maori director and writer. Dwayne Johnson, Samoan actor. Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States.
The list of contributions and icons can go on, but during the pandemic, the Asian community has faced misdirected hate. Anti-Asian hate crimes have risen by 169% this year.
We need to take time to honor Asian and Pacific Islander Americans for their contributions. We can stand up and speak against anti-Asian hate by reporting incidents and advocating for a safe and inclusive community.
Reading each day has many benefits, such as enhancing creativity, becoming open-minded, and learning about different cultures and history. Mrs. Dennis brings to you a message about diversifying your reading life, as well as 2 new book recommendations.
Hi, Saber readers. Mrs. Dennis here with a couple messages to you about diversifying your reading life. Make sure that you're talking to your favorite English teacher about the diverse topics that we have on hand in our classroom libraries so that you can gain perspectives on people, cultures, practices, and situations that you might not experience yourself, but can gain tremendously from reading about. 2 specific titles to recommend to you today come from authors you may be familiar with. Nick Stone wrote Dear Martin and has recently come out with Dear Justice. If you read and loved Dear Martin, the story of a young man named Justice who was writing to Martin Luther King Jr. to better understand the questions and struggles he was having as he was trying to navigate his life as an African American in America. In that book, Justice is able to work out enough of the struggles that he's having to persevere and get himself all the way to Yale. In Dear Justice, the protagonist is Quan, and he's a young man who grew up with justice, but he doesn't end up following the same path. He struggles tremendously. He goes to jail, and he writes to Justice in the same way that Justice wrote to Martin Luther King Jr. to connect and get his questions answered. For those of you that loved The Hate U Give, Angie Thomas has what she's called Hate U Give #0. This book follows her father. It's set 17 years before The Hate U Give and gives some fantastic background on the family dynamics that help Star, who is the protagonist of The Hate U Give, navigate her situations. So you talk to those English teachers. We have a ton of books we would love to recommend to you so that you can better equip yourself to connect well with those around you and make not only Franklin, but the world a better place. Keep reading.
If you are interested in reading Dear Justice or Concrete Rose, be sure to check out your English Teachers Library or the Franklin Public Library.
Have you heard of FREE? It's a group that's been recently gaining interest in FHS.
So FREE stands for Franklin for Racial Equity and Empowerment, and FREE is a forum where we can voice feedback about racial equity within our district, as well as creating a dialogue between community members and our school board.
We'd like to establish a racially diverse team of students and staff members and community members in the Franklin community to help carry through with these steps, which is what FREE is.
Currently, what we're currently working on and we're planning to have done by the end of the year is to create a list of by POC figures for each general school subject, which all kids at FHS will take, so that we can implement them into the curriculum without having to do too much move around.
The purpose of FREE is something that requires the entire community working together to take that step forward. So we, of course, are still accepting members. And if you'd like to join, contact us at our email, our Instagram, or you can reach out to me or Prerna separately.
In the future, we're hoping to expand with more members and with more community involvement, just so that we can implement as much of this 5-step plan as possible so that we can move forward as a district in racial equity and empowerment.
If you would like to join FREE or are interested in more of what they do, you can contact them on email or Instagram at fps.free.
During our Teacher Appreciation Show, we asked them to look for a hidden saber in our show. After many submissions, one lucky teacher was surprised by Julian with this week's Hidden Saber reward.
Hello everybody. So in our last show, if you guys didn't see, we asked teachers to submit where they found the hidden saber. And your wonderful teacher, Mr. Doring, knew exactly where it was. So everybody give him a round of applause. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Mr. Doring. Let me get an elbow. So what was your inspiration for filling out the wonderful hidden saber for?
Well, I got to give props to Caden Cloud. He may or may not have told me exactly when it was in the video.
Perfect. Hey, that works. That works. Use your resources, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Everybody give him another round of applause. Congratulations, Mr. Doring.
Congratulations, Mr. Doring, and thank you to all the teachers who submitted their guesses.
Looks like we have a little confusion on the field. We go to our COVID ref Miles and our biologist, Mrs. Leitner, to clear up some confusion on the COVID vaccine.
What's up, FHS? It's Miles, the COVID ref. There's been a lot of confusion about the COVID vaccine, and I'm here today to educate you on the history. Ms. Leitner will educate us on the science of vaccines to help you get back in the game. First, vaccines are a new age technology. Vaccines have been around for over 500 years. They appear in history texts in the China and Ottoman Empire around the 15 to 1600s. They practice inoculation, which is giving a healthy person a little bit of the virus to elicit the body's immune response. Here comes the gross part. At first, they would grind up smallpox scabs and blow them up healthy people's nose. This method proved effective, but kinda gross. In the American colonies in 1721, there was an outbreak of smallpox in Boston. Onesimus, an enslaved African man, taught his enslaver a method of inoculation by which, gross alert, pus from smallpox was poked or cut into the healthy person's skin. Though there was resistance and ignorance that kept people from listening to a slave, Those that did avoided the smallpox outbreak. Edward Jenner later perfected this process in 1796, developed an effective vaccine that used cowpox to provoke smallpox immunity. It was then administered to the public and effectively stopped a smallpox pandemic. Today's vaccine's purpose is to build up an immune response to COVID-19, meaning there is a reduced risk of contracting the illness and its consequences. The current vaccines available are the Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, and Moderna, and they're all CDC authorized and safe to get. They've shown an 85 to 95% effectiveness rate so far. There are many misconceptions about the current COVID vaccines. We go to one of our head officials, Ms. Leitner, to give us the science behind them.
Thank you, Miles. I'm Ms. Leitner. I teach Anatomy Lab and Physiology here at Franklin High School, and I'm here to talk to you today about some of the myths surrounding the COVID vaccines. So, you may have heard about the first myth, that the vaccine is going to change your DNA. This is a myth. It is false. mRNA is a biological molecule that codes for proteins. It's made from our DNA, but it is not our DNA. And so what the mRNA in the vaccine does is it codes for this spike protein here. So that is injected into our cells, this mRNA, and then our cells can construct these spike proteins. So our immune system is then able to recognize these and give our body the pattern to fight off these spike proteins. The second myth is that the vaccine is containing unsafe toxins. This is also false. In the vaccine, there are lipids and preservatives that are going to protect that messenger RNA. These are made available to be like, oh, are you going to be allergic to any of them? So of course you want to check out if you are allergic to any of the substances in the vaccine before you get it, to make sure you don't have an allergic reaction. The third myth is that there is a microchip within the vaccine. And no, we do not live in a sci-fi movie, so you are not being microchipped. The vaccine has been proven safe by medical and scientific standards. So know your facts. Help us achieve herd immunity by getting the vaccine if you are eligible. Back to you, Miles.
Now the question is how to get vaccinated. All you need to do is schedule an appointment or go to a walk-in. You are eligible to get vaccinated if you are 18 and above, and you will need parental consent if you are 16 or 17. You can call or go online to schedule a vaccination at Walgreens or the Franklin Health Department. This is our first step to return to normal, Sabers. Remember, the choice is yours.
Remember, Sabers, it's your choice whether or not to get the vaccine, but this is our first step towards living normal once again.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we want to share a statistic that may surprise some of you. Suicide is the second leading cause of death in teens, according to the National Alliance on Mental Health. Remember, Sabers, you are not alone. If you ever need to talk to someone, Student Services is always available, or if you can call the suicide hotline at 800-273-8255.
That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter at the Saber Roar to stay up to date with all things Saber Roar.
See you next week, Sabers. I was getting close to the edge.